On the second day of the BRICS summit, Brazilian President Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva ratified that member countries are sovereign and called on the organization to lead a new global development model. In the United States, the death toll from the floods in Texas rose to 100, including 28 children in Kerr County. In Argentina, the grandmothers of Plaza de Mayo human rights organization announced Monday they found grandchild number 140th. Hello and welcome to From the South. I'm Alejandra Garcia from teleSUR Studios in Havana, Cuba. We begin with the news. On the second day of the BRICS summit, Brazilian President Lula da Silva ratified that member countries are sovereign. President Lula called on the organization to lead a new global development model in the face of Trump's threats and the climate crisis. Monday's plenary session focused on the environment and global health. During the day, pro tempore President of the BRICS, Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva, warned that denialism and unilateralism are eroding the advances of the past and sabotaging the future of the peoples. Lula da Silva also warned that global warming is occurring at a faster pace than expected. The Brazilian head of state also stressed that it is urgent to recover the leading role of the World Health Organization as a legitimate forum to confront pandemics and defend the health of the people.
Even without the historical liabilities of the developed countries, the BRICS members have not failed to do their part. At the World Health Organization and the World Trade Organization, we fought together for access to essential medicines and vaccines to overcome the HIV/AIDS epidemic, malaria, tuberculosis, and other problems that mainly affect the most vulnerable countries. At the Cairo and Beijing conferences 3 decades ago, we reaffirmed the human rights of women and girls, including sexual and reproductive health. Today, denialism and unilateralism are eroding the progress of the past and sabotaging our future.
Likewise, BRICS pro tempore President pointed out that the advance of global warming is leading the territories to a point of no return.
Global warming is occurring at a faster rate than predicted. Tropical forests are being pushed to their point of no return. The kickoff conference a few weeks ago made it clear that the ocean is feverish. A decade after the Paris Agreement, resources are lacking for the just and planned transition that is essential for building a new cycle of prosperity. Developing countries will be the most impacted by losses and damage. They are also the ones with the least means to pay for mitigation and adaptation. Climate justice means betting on actions committed to fighting hunger and socio-environmental inequality. By protecting, conserving, and restoring our territories, we also create opportunities for local communities and indigenous peoples.
For his part, during his speech at the 17th BRICS summit, Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov urged world leaders to strengthen multipolarity. The top Russian diplomat said that developing countries spend more on debt servicing than on investing in their own development, warning that the situation is getting out of control. The head of the Russian diplomacy reaffirmed his firm position on forming a more just multipolar world order under the principles of the United Nations.
BRICS countries, together with partners, continue to lead in advancing the principles of a fair multipolar world. Multipolarity is not an option but a reality. It means replacing the obsolete neoliberal model The first signs of failure of this model were the economic crises of recent decades. The COVID pandemic also exposed different deficiencies of the financial system and accelerated its fragmentation. This is observed by unilateral sanctions and the use of the dollar as a weapon of punishment. Trust on the U.S. currency as a means of payment has been undermined. Another negative factor is the increase of the debt burden.
During his speech at BRICS Summit Conference in Rio de Janeiro on Monday, Cuban President Miguel Díaz-Canel called the bloc's member and associate countries to get together to create a new international order, but said it was not enough to wish for it, but to fight for it.
Unámonos.
Let us unite to promote the international order we desire and deserve, one that guarantees peace, provides for the common good and prosperity of peoples, where the right to development of all countries is realized and is in harmony with nature, an international order where solidarity, cooperation, and integration prevail to face the global challenges and threats, including the environmental crisis, and that promotes real solutions to eradicate hunger, poverty, and disease. But it is not enough to wish for it. Let us fight for it.
Also, Cuban President Miguel Díaz-Canel met with the president of the new development bank, Dilma Rousseff, in order to strengthen relations with the international institution. During the talks, the Cuban president reaffirmed his commitment to advance cooperation between developed and developing countries of the global south. The head of state also stressed that his country could be an important nation for the economic development of the Caribbean region. In addition, President Díaz-Canel welcomed the inclusion of Cuba as a partner state of the BRICS group. The head of state described the international bloc as a synonym of hope in the construction of multilateralism. The government of Mexico condemned on Monday the imposition of tariffs on BRIC partner countries by the U.S. administration. During her regular daily morning press conference, President Claudia Sheinbaum stated that countries should cooperate with each other for the development and well-being of their people. Let's recall that on Sunday, U.S. President Donald Trump announced that countries that are aligned with the BRICS bloc will have a 10% increase in tariffs, which will take effect as of August 1st. The Mexican president expressed her disagreement with the measure and emphasized that her cabinet maintains the negotiations with Washington on the tariff issue.
Relationships between countries should always be one of cooperation for development. That is our position. It is also a position, not only because of conviction, but also because it is established in our Constitution. That should always be the position of any president of Mexico. Now there is a process coming up between now and July and August. The whole issue of tariffs with the United States is happening. We are working with our team, Foreign Minister Marcelo, and the Secretary of the Treasury. We are still in talks with the United States.
And now we have a short break coming up. But first, remember, you can join us on TikTok at teleSUR English, where you'll find news in different formats, news updates, and more. We'll be right back. Stay with us. Welcome back from the south. The Palestinian Wall and Settlement Resistance Commission denounced that Israeli occupation forces continue with the seizure of more Palestinian land northeast of Ramallah. Occupation authorities announced on Monday the seizure of 74.4 hectares in the villages of Al-Mugajir and Habaid under the pretext of declaring them as state land. The Palestinian Commission assures that this illegal appropriation by Israel is part of the expansionist agenda to extend its settlements in order to take over more Palestinian lands. With this latest announcement, the total area seized under the so-called state land since the formation of the far-right Israeli government in early 2023 now stands at 2,582.4 hectares, spread across 12 separate land confiscation orders. In Brazil, social movements rallied in solidarity with Palestine and Iran. The demonstrators gathered near the area of the site where the BRICS summit is taking place, denouncing the criminal actions of Israel against the population of Gaza. The social movements also demanded the BRICS member countries to cut all types of commercial and diplomatic relations with the Zionist regime. Likewise, they demanded the inclusion of Venezuela in the bloc and rejected any type of veto against it, affirming that the Latin American country is of great importance for the bloc for being one of the powers in oil reserves at the world level. This Sunday, more than 14,000 people filled the town hall square in Pamplona, northern Spain, to welcome the San Fermín 2025 festivities. This year, the traditional chupinazo was accompanied by a clear message: stop genocide, long live free Palestine. Yala Nafarroa movement representatives for Palestine were in charge of lighting the traditional rocket to start the festival. From the balcony, they launched a strong message in support of the Palestinian people, victims of the Zionist genocide. Those present, many of them with flags and banners in support of the Palestinian cause, shared this historic start of the festival. Pamplona Mayor Joseba Asiron described this action as an act of solidarity and humanity. United Nations teams deployed to Latakia and Syria's northwestern coast on Sunday to support firefighters battling wildfires for the fourth consecutive day. United Nations humanitarian coordinator in Syria, Adam Abdelomoula, reported that United Nations teams are assessing the scale of the disaster to identify humanitarian needs. Firefighters from Turkey and Jordan have also joined Syrian civil defense teams, providing aerial support with helicopters to contain the flames. Meanwhile, official media reports that emergency crews are working to protect the Al Frulog Nature Reserve, an area with large interconnected forests. In Turkey, government authorities announced that they have under control the 761 forest fires that have raged in several areas in the south and east of the country over the past 10 days. Of the heavy fires ranging in the country, 20 were considered big fires with a destructive potential similar to the Mangabat disaster in 2021. Interior Minister Ali Yerlikaya confirmed that Smyrna was the worst hit province, with 228 houses, 13 businesses and 15 granaries severely damaged. The incident also affected provinces such as Sakarya, Hatay, Bilecik, Manisa, Istanbul and Bursa. Despite this progress, the risk of new outbreaks persists due to the high temperatures and lack of rainfall in the region. Investigations into the origin of the fires have led to the arrest of 44 suspects, 10 of whom have been imprisoned. In the United States, authorities announced more than 100 dead after floods caused by overflowing of the Guadalupe River in Texas. The Texas authorities reported that more than 60 bodies have been recovered, of which almost 30 belong to minors. At the same time, they expressed that the search and rescue work continues with hundreds of agents, helpers, and support personnel in all areas. The President of the United States, Donald Trump, announced his visit to the most affected areas of Texas this Friday, July 11th, and he also reiterated his commitment to deploy all federal resources to unify the affected families. In the United States, 2 young Mexican women saved 20 girls during the emergency caused by the tragic floods in Texas. Both were part of a staff of monitors at a Christian camp along the Guadalupe River in Kerr County. During the emergency, the girls kept the children safe by sheltering them in elevated cabins, writing their names on their arms for easy identification, and caring for them throughout the night. Federal and state authorities have intensified search and rescue efforts in the region, one of the hardest hit by the natural disaster, as dozens of girls are still missing. The Trump administration announced to suspend the temporary protected status for migrants from Nicaragua and Honduras. The measure will force over 80,000 migrants protected by this status to seek other legal ways to remain in the country or otherwise face eventual deportation. In that regard, the White House argues that both nations do not face unfavorable conditions that justify implementing the TPS. Meanwhile, the U.S. Department of Homeland Security reported that the policy will take effect 60 days after the disclosure of the notices in the registry. On the other hand, activists and organizations defending migrants warned that the elimination of the benefit could cause humanitarian crises and family breakups. And we have a second short break coming up. Before we invite you to visit our Facebook page at teleSUR English, there you'll be able to watch our top stories, special live coverage and much more. Follow our page and activate the notification button to stay up to date on the world's most recent events. Final show break, don't go away. Welcome back to From the South. In Argentina, the grandmothers of Plaza de Mayo human rights organization announced Monday they found grandchild number 140th. According to a statement via social media, the organization said that the newly identified grandchild is the son of political activist Graciela Alieta Romero and Raúl Eugenio Metz, who remain missing. The couple were kidnapped in December 1976 and taken to a place in the city of Neuquén, where they endured torture and then transferred to a detention center in Bahía Blanca, where they were last seen in 1977. The human rights group estimates that about 500 children were stolen by agents of the Argentine military dictatorship between 1976 and 1983, and around 300 of them are missing. In Venezuela, the command of the Great Patriotic Poll Coalition's campaign met Monday to finalize details ahead of the municipal elections to be held next July 27th. The meeting was presided over by the head of the campaign, Jorge Rodriguez, where the command's members discussed the strategies to be developed during the municipal campaigns scheduled for July 11th. Under the slogan, "People who deliver," the political coalition aims at getting closer to the Venezuelan people and crystallizing the projects that are being developed in the South American country. More than 21 million Venezuelans are called to the polls on July 27th to elect the new mayors of the 335 municipalities of the country. The Carnival of Vincimas continues in San Vincent and the Grenadines a few days ahead of the end of the carnival with Mardi Gras. On Sunday and early Monday morning, Victoria Park was witness to the celebration of the contest in search of the Calypso Monarch, one of the most anticipated events of the festivities. The Queen of the Band contest was also held, in which the representatives of each of the local traditional bands showed off their elaborate thematic costumes in search of the 2025 title.
So it is very nice to see that we still have this mass going about, the traditional aspect is not lost to anybody. We still do our hand pieces. Watch my hand still with contact. So we were up to last night. Well, yes, last night because it's this morning now. That we were still preparing this, and we have our king to come. All right. So it is beyond words, beyond words. But it is a pleasure to be on the stage just to perform and make my whole team proud. Right. Just to look out and to see all the smiles on their faces. It's phenomenal.
In this context, another of the events that took place earlier on Monday morning was the Joe Verde, a typical celebration of the country's carnival that starts before dawn and fills the island streets with music and dance, an expression of culture and community spirit. Joe Verde, originating from the French words meaning daybreak or morning, precedes the traditional Mardi Gras, which will close the 2025 Binsimas on Tuesday with a huge parade.
Binsimas is literally the hottest carnival in the Caribbean. As you can see, we don't party normal. It's a good vibe. The sun's coming up. Good energy. Everybody's out there having fun, listening to music, having drinks, eating Binsi food. That's the vibe.
So, because we're just not one person in the Caribbean, one Caribbean island, it's all different cultures, all different countries, all different cultures, as I said. I love our master moves. I've done all the countries like Jamaica, I've done Grenada, I've done St. Lucia, but Binsimas is just holds a special spot in my heart. Yeah, I just like my people. My people have vibes, so I absolutely love it.
And like this, we have come to the end of this news brief, but you can find these and many other stories on our website at telesurenglish.net and join us on social media. We are on Facebook, X, Instagram, Telegram and TikTok as well. For TeleSUR English, I'm Alejandra Garcia. Thank you for watching.